Right, Paul. We'll start with the transfer window, obviously being open. Any new additions for Halifax?
No, lots of work going on, and I guess plate spinning to a degree. But there's, as we speak, and there won't be anything done for tomorrow now. We are as we are, and the work will just carry on. It's busy time, not much downtime as such, but that's coming once you particularly get to this point. And again, whether it's because we're not people's instant call to make, some of those conversations I think are drip feeding along. But as I've said many times before, we are at a point where either some inquiries certainly that have been made have been rebuffed, whether it's because they want to wait or whether it's simply no's. And then we've got one or two other things that are ongoing that could happen. I'm just waiting for phone calls, really.
Have you any bids on the table?
Not bids as in transfer fees, but a couple of offers for players, yes. And that's what I kind of mean by just really waiting, Matt, to see if the phone goes and it's a positive or a negative. Obviously, you're always still exploring and looking. As I said, we've always had them lists anyway, and then some naturally come up that maybe you didn't think would be available, or someone different comes to the fore, and you have a look at things. I think you have to be open-minded, and what I certainly am getting from some certainly agents I'm speaking to at least. And I know it's an element of unfortunately a game attached to some of these things, but a lot of the players that we're interested in, probably quite a number of clubs in our league are also interested in them as well.
I know when we spoke before, you were quite keen to stress that you'd like to make permanent signings, if possible, this month. Have you been able to establish whether that will be possible, or are you looking more now at loans?
Yeah, I think at the minute that's proving very difficult, Matt. There was a deal that I hoped would happen, and then it didn't. That would have seen someone come in permanently, and hopefully, for certainly next season and maybe beyond. But that fell through, and like I said, those deals seem to be proving extremely difficult this moment in time. So it is more the loan market in general that seems to be more active and perhaps easier to sort of, I guess, get deals done from. But as I said, I think you have to be still patient. We try and get things done, but we've still got numbers in terms of a squad, albeit it's gradually been reducing with a couple of players going back.
Which players are those?
Obviously Riley before, and Sam Bell, and Alex Hunt has gone back to Sheffield Wednesday at the minute. So we still got Seb and Will. And obviously the lads that are our players as well.
You say Alex Hunt's gone back for the moment. So is that one that you're still pursuing?
He's not dead and buried. As we speak now, I'd probably say it's looking unlikely, but it's not an absolute no. So, I don't want to say otherwise. And then the next minute he did happen to return. But
why is it looking unlikely?
I think just because the deal sort of changes, and obviously I've got to look at what I wouldn't like to do overall. So I've kind of muted the possibility of trying to bring Alex here permanently, but I don't think that's on offer at present. So yeah, that's at the minute we sort of ongoing, if you like. But as I said, unfortunately, looking probably less likely.
But you wouldn't rule out a permanent move for him to the Mariners?
No, absolutely. But I think, in fairness to Alex, he's still, it's his boyhood club. And I think still has hopes that he can force his way in there in some capacity, whether that's through going out and doing extremely well, or whether it's being there and trying to impress in front of the manager.
Do you know if other clubs are interested in him?
No, I don't think that's. I'm not saying they're not, but that's not any sort of complication that, to my knowledge, in that. It's just the fact, like I say, of the sort of situation at the minute is kind of not happening from our point of view. So we, we'll have to either move on or see if anything changes.
Still a bit of time yet, though, isn't there? As for the player you're unsuccessful with trying to sign, what position was he playing in?
He was a midfield player, more attack-minded probably than maybe some of the lads that we've got. As I said, that one kind of fell down, not through anything on our side, I have to say. But you very quickly move on. It's not unfortunately, it doesn't come as a surprise when you're in this job. That's just the way that things go sometimes.
At what level was he playing at?
He was at a championship club.
Right, okay. As for Seb Revan and Wilbur Parga, does that mean now they're going to be staying with you for the rest of the season, or is it still something you'll review at a later point this month?
No, I think that the way that those deals are set up, the clauses that can be are in the hands of the parent clubs, realistically. In Will's case, for tomorrow night at least, he's unavailable. He's been ill the last 3 days, I think it is. Certainly wasn't testing positive. So hopefully that remains to be the case. But he's ill, so will be unavailable for us tomorrow night.
Sam Bell left you last week, didn't he? Was that your decision or Bristol City's?
No, I think he saw Bristol had said about getting him back, and he was on the bench the other day for him in the FA Cup. So, I wish Sam well. He was no trouble whatsoever. I think I saw certainly enough in him and his attitude that I'm sure he'll go on and have a good career. And certainly from my point of view, I hope that's the case, because he was a good person first and foremost. And like I said, did see it was a difficult time for him, if we've been, I think, fair to him, where the team, results-wise at least, wasn't going as well as we would like. Then we had obviously the latest absence from the club, so it wasn't probably the best time as it turned out. But I had a good chat with him, and I think he still felt it was beneficial. I want that to be the case for him, and he enjoyed his time here. So, like I say, I shall certainly be watching with interest and wish him well.
Watching with interest this month to see if another club comes in or whether he's available again to get back.
Yeah, look, you never say never, Matt, on that one. I think it's interesting situation, really. I said he'd gone and been on the bench. Now I'm not totally sure of what the circumstances are, but I know that a lot of the young players have been getting opportunities at Bristol City, and they've seemed to be doing a fantastic job with their 23s and academy setup. So maybe that's a direction that the club are trying to really push at the minute.
Will Riley be coming back?
I wouldn't have thought so, Matt. Again, a player that's went and got in the team. I didn't see the game because I was travelling to a game myself to watch. Perhaps he's had better afternoons from what I've heard and read, but at the same time, I think still, full credit to Riley and the club that he's, been recalled and played in the championship. So very similar to Sam. I know we had him longer, but I think ultimately it's the player themselves. But he definitely seems that Bristol City are bringing him up in a very good way and know how to conduct themselves and have good attitudes to it. And again, I hope that Riley can really kick on and go on to have a really good career.
Any interest in any of yours?
No. I'm just checking out. No, we haven't. Nothing to really consider, Matt, on that side.
Ryan Sear's departure was announced yesterday. We know about his misdemeanor, but when he returned to the squad against Chesterfield and then to the side against Stockport, it might have suggested to some that he had a future with you and that he was forgiven. What changed then, Paul?
No, that was very much the case. I think that an opportunity arose for Ryan that I felt was only right that was presented to him, and he wanted to take that opportunity. And I think, situations aren't always as straightforward as people want them to be. Ryan's moved away from home for the first time in his life, and then had obviously a difficulty which is self-inflicted. There's no getting away from that, and Ryan accepts that. But I think it's just not quite worked out, or wasn't working out the way that I think he wanted. And ultimately, in terms of what's best for the player, again, without, us just, you can't simply just let players do what they want. They sign contracts. However, we felt that it was only, or it was the right decision, certainly for all parties concerned. And again, I clearly wasn't happy with the misdemeanor, as you put it, and certainly don't condone that. But that wasn't the determining factor in him leaving the football club. I'll be very clear about that. Just a situation that unfortunately hasn't quite worked, and he moves on and hopefully can get playing on a regular basis, which is something that he craves. And I'm still convinced that there's a player of sorts there with Ryan.